What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. That's the one and the only. It is the Squid Boy himself, Scott Savage.
Am I a kid or am I a squid?
You're squid today.
I'm hyped up for the Nintendo Direct. It is confirmed. We're supposed to see a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, and I believe that's 10 o'clock Eastern for us.
Yeah, right before the Daily Show. Dude, it's going to be hectic. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about.
I think it's about to be 40 minutes from what I've seen online.
No way,
People talking
really?
40 minutes. I'm not sure if any sort of new reveals, but I suspect we will see some.
I'm sure we'll get some. You thinking, obviously it's not a mini Direct, being 40 minutes, but you think it's indie focused, or are we getting something on Metroid Prime 4, Scott?
I don't think we'll see the big
Oh.
first-party releases. We may see something like Shin Megami Tensei, something that I'm thinking Dragon Quest is a possibility, but
A new
really
Switch?
it's... Oh, well, that's the big one.
Lost you. I don't hear your audio now either, buddy. It's funny how that goes. Scott will be right back, everybody. We'll get going, though. So let's get into today's show, where people can join us live every day, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, over on youtube.com/InsideTheGameOfficial, as well as Twitch over at twitch.tv/theofficialITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, thanks to our friends over at Fired Up Network, and of course, those TV streaming networks around the world. Roku, Amazon Prime, Samsung Plus, Rogers TV, the list goes on and on. Scott, you're back. What's going on?
I am back. You can hear me?
I can hear you now. So let's get into it. We got today's show going on as details have begun to surface with Bungie's next title, Marathon. Xbox says VR is too small of a market to be chasing, and will Ghost of Tsushima film be left open for a sequel?
Ooh. I'm still trying to come to the terms with the idea of a Ghost of Tsushima film.
Oh, I think that'd be good. Yeah, I just want the sequel game. Give me a second one. Where's that at right now? Where is Sucker Punch with Ghost of Tsushima 2? Where is it?
Actually, financially, we know that has to be a given, right? But I don't think we've heard or seen anything about it so far.
We've seen absolutely nothing. Nothing. When did... Hey, we're
I'm
already
sure
off
if
the
studio
rails.
Has the studio even acknowledged a second one?
Yes, I believe they have.
Okay.
So it was 3 years ago now, Scott, was when we got Ghost of Tsushima 1. We are long overdue for a sequel, right? Don't forget about you were on ESTV. That is correct, Mike. Thank you so much, dude. Is that where you watch us? Is ESTV? I appreciate that, man. Thanks. That's funny. But all right, let's get going as we're getting into Bungie's Marathon gameplay loop, features, progression, and more. Tom Henderson doing the inside details and getting the information we all desire. Insider Gaming exclusively reported early details on Bungie's new Marathon game, and now we've reapproached our sources to get a more in-depth details, Scott. If you're unaware, Bungie's next shooter, dubbed Marathon. Scott, give me the backstory on Marathon.
So I'm not sure that I have 100% of the picture, but the legends say that Marathon was what precursed Halo. So Marathon would have changed into the shooter that we kind of have seen. You'll see that DNA progress further into Halo. But Marathon Durandal, I believe, was out on 360. You could download it and play it, as it could be Xbox Live Arcade. I, however, did not.
All right. Well, Marathon was officially revealed at this year's PlayStation Showcase with a short, very short, CGI trailer. Bungie's Brian Ekberg dived in a little deeper into the Marathon details, including confirming all the details were previously reported. So what exactly is Marathon? Marathon is a 3-person, Scott. 3 people.
Yep.
Extraction shooter. Well, here, okay. Oh, no. Scott, okay. Well, we'll get into it. I got some thoughts here. 3-person extraction shooter with features that you might find similar if you play games like Escape from Tarkov. However, I like that little, dude, Escape from Tarkov. I can't believe we don't have that yet on console. However, if you are not a fan of playing as a team, it's understood that you can jump into a server as a duo or solo if you wish, but you still face bigger teams. Extracting without your team is also seemingly a feature. Scott, we can leave you behind, dude.
I feel like that happened in a game recently.
It sure did. Kyle and I took off, dude, and we left you on the ground. Later.
Yeah.
It was one of the funniest things. I thought for sure you were in, man, and we just jumped in. Chopper took off.
Well,
I was like,
I am usually your wheelman, so that makes sense.
It's your fault you couldn't drive. So here I want to back it up real quickly as we're gonna dissect kind of as the article goes along. 3-person extraction shooter. This is also what Haven Studios is working on, is an extraction shooter as well, isn't it? With Fair Games. Remember that one?
Right, yeah.
So
Fair Games, and we have
competing?
does Payday Does Payday 3 fit into that as well?
Nah.
I don't know if I'd count that as an extraction, unless there were other teams. That's the difference, I suppose.
I kind of look at extraction like kind of like heist for GTA, I guess, in a sense, if that makes, you know what I mean? Like if you follow along that way. But for me, if you're going with Bungie and you have Haven Studios and we're going to go oh man, they're going to compete with each other. Like this seems a little weird, doesn't it? For PlayStation strategy. I know they've talked about for so long how they're getting into this live service model. Are they going to just kind of toss it out there and see which one sticks and then drop the other one that doesn't?
Oh, maybe, but that seems a little dangerous because you're splitting the fan base that would be on there, and you might actually lose some really good, worthwhile projects in the midst. But I think of Titanfall.
But you rest in peace, Titanfall 3. You only have so much time as a gamer to get involved into one or two games. Are you going to be? You're already playing the Apexes, right? You're already playing the Call of Duties. You're already playing a lot of these these games, and then you're getting into also PlayStation's beloved franchises like God of War, The Last of Us, and whatever else comes. Ghost of Tsushima, as we were just talking about, Horizon, dude. Like the list goes on and on for PlayStation when it comes to some of these massive titles. And then we're going to get into live service. People are already playing Destiny, so they're already heavily involved in that. The Division 2, something we just recently jumped back into. GTA is still an ongoing juggernaut. So how do you then bring in another extraction shooter? Vigor, one of the best ones we've ever played. If you haven't played it, go check that out. It's a free-to-play game. But we've seen some come and go.
It seems like not too many people know about Vigor.
I just don't get it. How not?
Well, as there is a lot of these extraction shooters releasing, and it does seem to be the industry trend, I think it'll be like battle royales in general, where you'll kind of pick one. Maybe you'll have an offhand one, maybe you'll flirt with Apex, but PUBG is your game. I think it'll be similar to that.
One of the biggest and potential controversial features within the game is an oxygen system. Oh no. All players have a limited oxygen supply that essentially acts like a match countdown timer, like a battle royale circle. Once a player loses oxygen, you begin to lose health. Extracting before you run out of oxygen and health is the goal. But players can also find O2 O2 canisters in the match, or subsequently buy them at an expensive price on the market before heading into battle. The oxygen system also ties somewhat into the injury system of Marathon, with certain injuries causing the players to suffer different effects. For example, being shot at in the waist area may cause damage to the oxygen supply, but will also cause it to deplete more rapidly. I like the side effects of that. Like, that kind of makes sense, right? Another given example. Go ahead.
I think of Fallout, meaning you cripple a limb and that makes you slower. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, yeah. If your oxygen supply does become a huge hindrance, though, Marathon's ability and perk system can solve that. We're all familiar with the perks and abilities in shooter games now, so I won't bore you. But yes, perks include the likes of faster revives, less O2 usage, faster movement in the water, etc. Water, Scott, we'll have a water feature there. You never quite know if the game's going to feature water or not, right? But we'll see how it goes. Abilities are more...
Water and oxygen. Water and oxygen is getting into quite a hectic system.
Well, I wonder if the oxygen system will play... Obviously, it's got to play in the water as well, right? Like, it's going to have this... wonder how that dynamic's going to work a little bit. Because will it deplete more when you're underwater? Because a lot of... I don't know. Okay, so... when you get into scuba diving, typically those who aren't used to it and done it maybe once or twice or a couple more times, when you go underwater and you use your oxygen underwater, you actually deplete it faster because your heart rate is up higher. So, do they play into that kind of detail? I don't know.
That's interesting. That's something I hadn't considered, but you're definitely right about that.
Yeah. Abilities are more game-changing and powerful, allowing the likes of night vision to spot enemy outlines. The more the player progresses, the more perks and abilities they unlock. Several more interesting details that were mentioned several times by sources were that Bungie was aiming for Marathon to be the ultimate live service. To achieve this, the team is aiming to have minimal load times. And granted, the load times right now on PlayStation 5 are so minimal, because when you played Horizon, if you played Horizon Forbidden West, they actually had to pause the load screen because, you get that little blurb, the little hint kind of text in the bottom corner. it goes so fast that people wouldn't even get to read that. So they actually had to prompt with an X button so you can like progress further. So yeah, it's like that is coming around so fast now. What with one source saying that the team is aiming for single digit load times from readying up to playing on the server. Wow. For replayability, it was said that Marathon's map will have plenty of secrets for players to explore.
Server connection.
Yep. Presumably, new secrets will come to the maps throughout the game's seasons. Oh man, the core gameplay loop for Marathon is as follows. Choose your mission to complete in the game by choose your loadout, perks, abilities, gear, drop into a server, hunt for loot, complete missions, explore, and find secrets, extract, spend XP on updates, repeat. Scott, is kind of how it goes. What are your thoughts on Marathon?
Okay.
Concerns, worries, excited? Where are you at with this?
Well, I see a connection to scavengers there, and I really liked scavengers. So I can kind of appreciate what this is doing. Get in, pick a mission, kind of just grab your stuff and get out if you can. And I like that kind of extraction. You don't have one ship, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to handle the extraction, but it is exciting to me. Was that Scavengers that you and I played? I thought there was one we played where, everybody aboard the ship at the end. That could be Scavengers. I'm thinking I played that on my own. But I'm looking forward to this. The idea that it might be Escape from Tarkov. I'm wondering, where's the Tarkov element really come in? Is it ammo, carry weight? Am I managing an inventory? Is this a million different positions I can get into? Different types of prone? Like it gets so extreme with Tarkov that you really need a mouse and keyboard to control all of the actions.
Yeah, that's why I think the biggest reason why we haven't seen Escape from Tarkov make its way over yet is because there are so many keyboarding functions on there for that game that's going to be hard to implement on the controller. Maybe one day they'll have to simplify it to get it over there. If that's even a vision, I think, for them at the end of the day. But when it comes to Marathon, dude, the cycle kind of comes to mind as well for me when we played the cycle back in the day, and that's one of those extraction shooters that is still going strong over in the world of PC, which again, love to see that come over to console, but here we are with Marathon. This might be a good opportunity, I think, an onboarding for a lot of us that have maybe been a little tempered to get away from the PC side of things because it can be a little daunting, and then get in over on console and have a good time. But I do find it really weird that they're going to be basically going up against another first party studio with Haven. And the other side note though too, Scott, is that Marathon isn't just PS5 exclusive. It's not exclusive at all. In fact, it's coming to Xbox Series X and S and PC. So it's nice to see that Bungie is, and that's what they said when they were purchased by PlayStation, is that going forward, they weren't going to focus on having just exclusive titles for PlayStation. That they will be looking for a broader audience and allowing as many people to get in as possible. It seems cool. I wonder how long will last. But time will tell.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that a lot of the Destiny kind of things they'll iron out the kinks that happened with the updates, the guns, the balancing. All of that is huge experience they've gained from Destiny. So hopefully this one launches in the right direction.
Hopefully. The CGI trailer had very little to show and kind of makes me think we're still ways out before we get this. Another 2 years probably. And Haven's probably in the same boat, if not even more. 2 or 3 years out. It's going to be a while, Scott, I think, before we see anything's kind of make it to the console. But let's get over to the other console. Xbox says the VR market is currently too small for it to chase. Tom Ivanor at VGC. The head of Xbox Game Studio has said the VR and AR market is currently too small for the platform holder to get involved in. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Matt Booty suggested Xbox games needs to reach around 10 million players to be successful. That's interesting. 10 million players, Scott, to be a successful title. Interesting, for sure. I think, for us, it's just a bit of wait until there's an audience here, he said. We're very fortunate that we have got these big IPs that have turned into ongoing franchises with big communities. Quote, we have 10 games that have achieved over 10 million players life to date, which is a pretty big accomplishment, but that's the kind of scale that we need to see success for the game, and it's not quite there yet with AR and VR. Understandable, Scott, because if we get into it, right, they did have the HoloLens. HoloLens was a different take. That was their AR product coming in. We saw the rise of the Minecraft world, and you can get into it and this, that. Dude, it looked super cool, but then it vanished. It wasn't really for the hardcore gamers.
It did
wasn't
look
for
really
gamers.
cool.
It did, didn't it? But it wasn't for the gamers. They went more on the educational and the tech side of it and focused that way. But when we get into where PlayStation is at right now, Scott, the PlayStation VR 2 just launched, was backscaled.
Oh, I've lost your audio again now. I'm not sure why. And I am working on a bit of a delay as well. That's something I can detect here.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a delay going on. But when we get into PlayStation and what they're showcasing for the PSVR 2 system, it isn't functioning and hasn't sold as well as they wanted to, right? We saw them make a big investment when it came to producing the units, and then they saw a big downscale when it actually released. They changed their orders, their pre-orders, and what there was to be expected there. A lot of us who have jumped in for PSVR 2 quickly have had fun, but dude, now mine's sitting in the cupboard right now waiting for my next game to play. Right? Like, that's the struggle. So,
yeah, you really need that support. You need all of the studio of the kind of games that would sustain.
Oh, Scott's chopping up here.
And I wonder what PlayStation numbers have hit.
I don't think PlayStation numbers have done well. And I think if Xbox takes a look at it, this is why they're like, no, we're not ready to get in here. When you take a look at what they've built with Game Pass and been able to keep that community going and going strong, it's been doing well. And it keeps some of these games growing, right? Like Sea of Thieves, for example, just keeps more and more content coming. But when you get over to PSVR and the sequel, PSVR 2, you don't see that same hype in the build for the community. There's cool games coming. They have 100 games in development for the system. And I'm excited for some of them, not so much for others. Horror games, obviously a big staple when it comes to VR, just not for me. But there are a bunch of other games that look really, really cool and will be... Dude, where's Half-Life Alyx at this point, though?
Oh, yeah, for
Scott's audio is
real.
killing us.
What kind of...
Yeah, you're pretty choppy there, Scott. That's all.
What Xbox games would do well in VR? Scorn?
Well, Scorn could, sure. But we're already first person when it comes to Sea of Thieves. Could you play a Sea of Thieves game in VR? Like, is that an option? Is there an opportunity there to build off of that?
That would be really fun.
It would be cool. I think it would be really fun to do that. It'd be interesting to see if they can achieve that without getting motion sickness.
There's something there for you, yeah.
Riding the waves going, whoa, you'll be green in the face in VR.
And Tin Can. Tin Can is a game we had for review on Xbox. And that would be horrifying in VR.
But they do have some franchises I think that would bode well to come into VR. But at the end of the day, if they're not going to reach that 10 million in sales because the install base isn't going to be there, then I think they would rather focus on other things for Xbox. And I think it makes a lot of sense, especially when they're trying to play catch up a little bit in the world comparable to PlayStation with launching some of their first party titles. Let's get those in the hands of gamers first. And then we'll see as the VR sector rises, maybe that's how they can kind of captivate some of us and get us into that VR once we have an install of such a vast library. Game Pass is already doing really well, right? They have the IP there for first party games and they're coming around, but we saw just at the showcase not too long ago, Scott, a week now, that a lot of those games still had 2024 on the release date. And that's the biggest thing. Fable, we still don't know when that's coming. When, right? That's the question.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima movie director Scott says he's looking at ways to leave it open.
Oh, Perfect Dark just gone.
Oh, Perfect Dark is gone. Ghost of Tsushima movie director looking at ways to leave it open to expand further. This is Michael over at PSU. Ghost of Tsushima movie director Chad Stahelski has revealed he's exploring ways to, quote, leave the film open to expand further from there, end quote. Speaking with Comic Book to promote the Blu-ray release of John Wick Chapter 4, Chad heaped praise on the original game, stating, quote, "We know we have great material. It's just how do I pack that much information into a feature that can go on to other features or a TV project or platform for that," end quote. Opportunities here knock. This is a problem when we get into game adaptations and a film. Because we saw just as recently with the Last of Us HBO show, they're able to expand that game over a series, like 40 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending on which episode dropped, of multiple episodes. So it's no longer just a 10-hour experience. It is, well, the games are 20 hours sometimes, right? So how do you shorten that into a 2.5-hour movie? You give us a 10 and 12-hour episodes of content. That way you can go into the TV side instead of just going on film side. But if it's done right, Scott, there are opportunities here. Ghost of Tsushima film, I think, would be fantastic. Oh, I think we may have lost
it. Really could be, but how do you, like you said, how do you break it into just one little snippet? It's got to be a show. That would be the only sensible way in my mind.
I think so. But we do know they are working on the film first. Will it be able to branch out from there? I'm kind of surprised. Have we not seen a comic book adaptation yet? We see Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft is really good at doing this. It's going, here's Assassin's Creed, but now you can get 1,000 comic books as well. So we'll see if that comes around, but there is an opportunity there. Sony is obviously looking to expand in all transmedia. We talk about it all the time now on the show as of recently. Everybody looking to kind of branch out, right? Death Stranding's Hideo Kojima looking to do film with Death Stranding, and then other opportunities as well. We'll see. I don't know. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the stigma of it not working well is starting to fade out a little bit more, Scott. I think we're starting to get into a better realm right now for gamers, that we are getting great adaptations into film as well as the TV show side of it as well with The Last of Us. The Last of Us set such a high bar.
Oh,
people are going to have a hard time catching up, man. All right.
That's really it. Yeah. How are you going to beat The Last of Us? How can you measure up? It's going to be good content.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, we do have a couple games out today. Why don't we get to those? What do we have?
We have Aliens Dark Descent on the Xbox One, XS, PlayStation 4, 5, and PC. We have Crash Team Rumble on Xbox One, XS, PlayStation 4, and 5. Rogue Legacy 2 is on PlayStation 4 and 5. And Elder Scrolls Online Necrom launches today.
Very cool. There's definitely a few games there. Scott, I know you're looking forward to Aliens Dark Descent. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Oh, I think it's going to be the Aliens project that I want. It's not Aliens Isolation, but it's the other possibility.
Do you think we'll get an Aliens Isolation 2? Is that an opportunity there?
I really, really hope so. And I think the first one sold like gangbusters. I think you could really make another one and it would do well.
It's definitely been a while since we've seen anything on Aliens, so it would be nice to have that kind of return back and see if there is. I've been told to give it a shot. I don't know if it'd be too creepy to kind of get me out of the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. Alien Isolation.
Oh, it'll get you once. It'll scare you, and that'll be good.
Yeah, well, so we'll see. We'll see if we get into Aliens Dark Descent. There are opportunities here for us, so we're kind of knocking on some doors right now. But yeah, it looks very cool. Crash Team Racing. I want to see how well that one lands, if it's going to stick around. But we can always stick around until tomorrow. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. And of course, we'll be back once again tomorrow and talking about the Nintendo Direct, getting y'all caught up to date on that. I'm Drew. That's Scott. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you tomorrow inside the game.